Hello everyone, my name's Sippy. Welcome to the video. I'm new to ARC content creation, but I am not new to ARC. So today at around 20 past 4 in the morning here in the UK, we've had the summer event, patch notes, and with it comes a great deal of changes and improvements. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of majority of them, summarize a bit. I'm definitely going to point out the more key ones and go over the changes made to creatures or structures, and then what's been added with the summer bash LTM. So let's get into the video. If you enjoy this at any point or find it useful, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. So a first small little fix to Club Arc. The main big one for creature wise is probably due to it being so heavily requested, but phoenixes are now breedable. Previously tamed ones in single player will automatically be updated to male. I have no idea what that means for servers, private, unofficial servers or whatnot. Maybe it'll be random, but I could imagine that it would be the same. Previously tamed ones will automatically revert to male. Phoenix Fire Attack no longer damages mounted players. They've added an auto run toggle. Yes, finally, something we've been asking for a millennia, a long time. We've been asking for this. It's accessible by holding R whilst mounted. I imagine if you're on console, it's holding Y. On Xbox and on PlayStation, triangle. I could be wrong. I don't play console. I have no interest in it. I apologize, but I believe those keys are correct. They've also added the option to keybind this in the settings so that you can just hit a button and be done, which I will absolutely be doing. Ankylosaurus, Doedicurus, and Dunkleosteus have now been given an extra option called Harvest Only. When enabled, will only harvest the resources selected. This can be toggled while mounted via the action wheel. I think is interesting. I believe that this is going to also be true if you hold E on the dino when you're not mounted, similar to how you would upgrade the harvesting levels on a Theri or a Moschops. Or I could be wrong though, but we are going to hop into the game and check this out. I should have clarified that first. Maybe I'll chuck that in at the start of the video. Little audio bouncing around. Anyway, they will no longer, as well, so these same creatures will no longer stop auto harvesting as long as they are grabbed and currently, even when slot capped. Now, the English there is not very good. That's not a dig to Zvala or anyone. I think it's grammatically correct. However, I'm not clever, so I didn't quite understand that the first time around. But I do understand now from further explanation and further thought that, so as an example, holding an Anki with your Argent Harvest will mean that it will continue to harvest no matter what, even when it's full on its own weight. It will carry all the way up until your RG's weight limit rather than the Anki's itself. And from this, it seems like it may try to go beyond that. It will go until essentially it can't move anymore, and then you have to manually move stuff around. But again, we'll check this out in game. They've removed the poker table from Bob's Tall Tales and the base game content to comply with ESRB rating requirements. I have no idea what ESRB rating requirements are, but I imagine it's something to do with gambling awareness. It's something to do with promoting over 18 content to under 18s. I feel like there's something going on there in that realm, maybe, because gambling is 18 plus, and I believe the PEGI rating for ARC is not 18 plus. It's maybe 16 or 12. I don't recall. It's been a long time since I've heard that in the front of an ad. Equipped armor durability is now displayed on the extended HUD when you hold H. So holding H, or if you have it on a toggle, you can just press it. I probably will change mine to a toggle just because sometimes it is handy. But yes, it will now display all of the durability remaining on all of the pieces of your armor. We will check this out as well. Added a quick select feature for building whilst you're placing structures. Placing a structure, pressing the quick ping keybind on a placed structure will swap to placing that structure if you have one available. Right, my understanding of this is if I'm looking at a wall and I have some walls in my inventory and I quick ping hand, or having gone in my inventory and selected it or press E, it has brought itself to the front and it will allow me to then continue placing and building, which is a really nice addition. Something that Minecraft did, I believe. And I remember thinking that was very handy then. Quetzalcoatl movement speed has been increased by approximately 15%. Spinosaurus health scaling has been increased by approximately 15%. Just to clarify, health scaling, I believe that's when you level the creature's health. So now it goes up by an additional 15% rather than all across the board 15% raise, although I believe there is a technicality that says that's the same thing. But that's just to be 100% clear. Mammoth health scaling has been increased by approximately 20%. Bronto health scaling has been increased by approximately 10%. Pyro remains inflamed. Damage over time duration has been reduced to 20 seconds from 30. Nulling has been increased by 20%. Never really used the Fasola. I couldn't tell you whether it needed this or not. However, I have used the Dreadmare a lot, and it did definitely need this. Damage scaling has been increased by 30% for them. The Basilisk's damage scaling has been reduced by 20%. I didn't think they were too OP or needed any sort of adjustment. The Rhino saddle has been clamped to 75.5 on official servers. That's interesting, especially when you consider that they take additional, or not additional, but extra projectile damage, same as RG. Or I believe they do. Anyway, on PvP enabled servers, all buffs from the Tribe Tower have been doubled. Wait, what? Weapons can no longer be equipped by mounted players on Megalania, Rock Drakes, and Ravagers. Similarly to the Rhino weapon equipment restrictions, unofficial servers can opt out by using the following config: ignore PvP mounted weaponry restrictions equals true. That's very cool. I'm a big fan of this. This means big things for people on PvP and PvE. People on PvE who just want to have fun, want to enjoy being able to tame on your Rhino. Because before, when the Rhino was first added or re-added to ASA, I suppose it was technically launched with it, you could use the weapon whilst mounted on it, and it was brilliant. And there was also no speed nerf for when you picked a creature up, so you could fly across the map in no time with a Rex between your clutches. I understand it wasn't intended to be that way, but it was good times. And so for those who want that on their PvP experience, that is good for you. You can chuck that in there on your private server, and I'm willing to bet this would also work on your single player. If you go into your config on your single player, I don't know if this would go in game user settings or game INI. Chuck it in both, try it out. If it's in one where it doesn't need to be, it won't hurt the game, so there's no harm in trying. The same with the Tribe Tower bonus. I believe that will also work in your single player, which it says in the game INI. If you're on console, then you shit out, really. My bad. Or sorry about that. Tesla Coil's Bright mode. I've never played with the Tesla Coil. It's a PvP thing, I believe, more than anything. But if you are interested in that, its Bright mode has been reworked to apply a 99% slow instead of a stun, eliminating dismounts and flyer grounding. Yeelings can now use Titanoboa Venom as well as Nameless Venom to poison enhanced feathers. Titanoboa Venom, I don't know. That seems quite expensive to me. I think Nameless Venom's a bit easier to get hold of, really. I might sound a bit stupid for saying that, but I tend to always have more Nameless Venom than Titanoboa. But I suppose that's so you could use it more availably on other maps. Yeeling's feather enhancements now last for 10 minutes, up from 5. I didn't think it needed buffing, but I'm glad to see it. It's definitely a welcome increase. Yeeling's tamed damage scaling has been increased approximately by 15%. Could definitely have used a damage increase, 100%. Poison Wyvern damage scaling has now been reduced by approximately 40%. Nearly half. Wow. Is that just for the poison or in general? I imagine that's for the breath attack. Dreadnoughta's HP scaling has been reduced by approximately 40%. Dreadnoughta's Titan Slayer buff only activates when there are only Dreadnoughtases nearby, within a 100 meter radius. I didn't quite understand this one at first, but I do now that I've had time to think about it. And it does make sense. The Titan Slayer buff will only be active when there are only Dreadnoughtases nearby, which does make sense. So if you have a couple of your Gigas or Karkas or Rexes or anything else helping you fight a Titan, the Dreadnoughtas will not gain its Titan Slayer buff because you don't technically need it. It's there to be mained and used as just Dreadnoughtases only. I would guess because the Titan Slayer buff was a bit too OP, which from what I've seen, it kind of was. I've not played around with it much myself. I've only ever used it once, and that was when it came out. Since then, I have tamed Dreadnoughtus, but I've never had a reason to go and kill Titans with it. I've always used car because it's just better in my opinion. Wyvern milk buff duration has been reduced to 2 minutes from 3. I believe this is when you would drink the milk as a player and it would shield you from fire damage or burning in general and make you more resistant to overheating or warm climates. Consuming Wyvern milk now applies a 5-minute cooldown, does not apply to raising babies. So it gives you a 3-minute. Oh no, sorry. They give you a buff for 2 minutes, but there's a cooldown for 5. I didn't think it was something that needed rebalancing, but I'm not the dev. Torpor applied by wooden clubs and Equus/Unicorn should now penetrate armor more effectively. Similarly to ASE means nothing to myself. I didn't know it was better in ASE. I didn't know it was less now. To be honest, I didn't think it was that bad. I've not really played around with it much. From what I can remember on ASE, I never really used clubs, but Equises and Unicorns I did use regularly to knock out players in a few PvP servers, and that was rather effective. So it looks like we're heading back in that direction, which kind of makes sense. If, regardless of what you're wearing on your head, if you get kicked in the face by a prehistoric horse that stands 10 foot tall, and you're telling me that you're not going to be knocked out? No. Fixed most cases where projectiles could pass through tech force field. Kind of defeats the purpose of it. But I'm glad it's fixed. Lightning Wyvern's breath no longer destroys armor. Durability. Oh, I need to read, man. Lightning Wyvern's breath no longer destroys armor durability, similarly to ASE. Mech blueprints have been re-enabled in the tinkering desk, like the other pseudo creature blueprints can only be tinkered with its own blueprints. So you can only mix mechs with mechs to make better ones or worse ones or gamble them away completely, from what I understand of the tinkering desk. Now, changes with gameplay, balance, and quality of life continued. This is like a little part 2 because that first message was too long. They had to do another one. The beam attack from mechs wearing the Power Rangers Megazord costume has been reduced by approximately 20%. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it sounds like bullshit to me. Because this makes me believe that mechs wearing the Power Rangers Megazord costume had an increased attack of some sort, whether it was range or damage. The beam attack from mechs wearing the Power Rangers Megazord costume has been reduced. That tells me they either have it increased range, increased damage, or rather, just for wearing the Megazord costume. That makes no sense. I don't see why that's specific there. If there's no difference between them, there should be absolutely no difference between them. I understand the visuals and the mechanics look completely different, but should we have it look that different if it changes the fundamentals, changes the DPS, changes, because that we're looking at the realms of pay to win here. If people want it that much and it does affect that, it should be the opposite. It should have the opposite effect. It should do less damage and it should have a lesser range. If you're going to change it and you're going to affect it, make it worse. It shouldn't be a case that I've paid for it, therefore it should be better. It should be a case of I paid for it because I like the cosmetic and because I wanted it to look a certain way. That's what we were told the point of the cosmetics were. That worries me a little bit, but hopefully this is it. This is fixed it. This is moving away from that. This is maybe a mistake. We never know. Door structures no longer exert enemy foundation control. Now, I didn't quite understand this one, but my initial summary was that doors, putting a door down, no longer blocks enemies from building in certain areas, I believe, how a foundation would. So door structures no longer exert enemy foundation control. So maybe having a gateway won't block someone from building there anymore just because you've put a gateway down there, which is good, because when I was on PvE Ragnarok very recently, there was no end to griffin traps all over the mountains and I couldn't place shit anywhere. I couldn't place a single thing on that map. The closest I could place to that map was by just going on ASE Ragnarok and placing something wherever I like, because there was no chance of me placing foundations anywhere on that PvE server. Training dummy placement limit has now been reduced to 20 from 50. From 150, sorry. Damn. What are you doing with 150? Lagging the server out. Training dummy can no longer be placed on platform saddles. Not sure why, but they can't. Telekinesis skill can now access tribe-owned creature inventories. I'm not sure how the public feel about that one. Makes no difference to me. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe some sus tribe mates are now going to be stealing from each other's inventories. Tech bunker stack size reduced from 5 to 1. That makes sense. The 5, I believe, was probably a mistake. Increase the chance of a heat wave weather event on Scorch. What are we doing? They're every 5 seconds, aren't they? I'm sure the last time I played, when I first started, a heat wave started at the same time as me. And then when I logged off, it was still going. And then when I logged back in, another one started. And then when I logged off, either another one or the same one was still going. They go on for quite, I don't know, they don't go on for that long actually. Not when I want a Phoenix anyway. Owners of the template hammer building template, what? Owners of a template hammer building template can now destroy it via the multi-use wheel. Right, so if you've placed a template down, you can destroy it with the wheel now rather than waiting for it to decay or registering the build as complete. I know why they've done this, because I did this by accident. I accidentally placed down 2 templates inside of each other, and I finished the first one thinking there was only one, and there was a great big blue ghosty overlay over the entire build because I'd put down 2. And I couldn't get to the second one. I couldn't class it as finished either because I'd classed 1 as finished, and there was a bit of confusion, I believe, with the game, thinking that the one I'd selected as complete was the only one there was. A strange bug, but that's helpful because now you would be able to destroy it regardless. The Veilwind's friends now transfer harvested resources to the main companion. Makes sense. Veilwind's Tundra power now also increases range damage. Nice. Alright, I suppose it would be just melee and whatnot. Added tech saddles to the Drakeling's Dragon Horde loot chest. Christ. So they intended for tech to be in there. I thought it may have been a mistake. Adjusted the Drakeling's Dragon Horde chest to drop slightly less tech items. Right, so they did intend for tech to be in there, but not at the quantities people have been finding it in. I watched someone open a ramshackle one, and they found a tech railgun, as well as boots and gauntlets, I believe. So that definitely did need adjusting. Drakelings no longer store XP for Gift of Knowledge when killing tamed creatures. Interesting. So, changes to Ragnarok and fixes for Ragnarok. They've added the Archelon, the Gigantoraptor, and the Rhinognatha spawns. This is wonderful to see. I was worried that the Gigantoraptor wasn't going to get added. If you remember, it was originally meant to be a Ragnarok exclusive, which we got early with the center because they had to push Ragnarok back, and that was their sorry. We got a new map-specific creature, the Bison. But when people will say, people found it quite ironic that this creature in particular didn't come out with Ragnarok, considering it was originally the creature that was supposed to be Ragnarok specific. Archelon, I'm glad to see that. I imagine that may have just been an oversight, or maybe the spawns weren't working for whatever reason. And the Rhinognatha, I believe, it wasn't in the game when they first added Ragnarok. No, absolutely not. It wasn't in the game when they first added Ragnarok. And I think it may have been an oversight this time, because from what a lot of people have said, this Ragnarok, it seems that they've copied and pasted some spawn containers. I know nothing about map development or coding or anything really, so take that with a grain of salt. Anyway, they've added blue gems, fungal wood, agaravic mushrooms, and aoric mushrooms to the map, which is wonderful. I'm not sure entirely why, but I understand there is a bit of aberration stuff going on somewhere on the map, so it's probably because of that. Fixed bisons not spawning correctly. I've seen plethora of people complaining about how the spawns aren't very accurate, or once people were built near them, that's it. There's no more bisons spawning ever again in certain areas, but that should be fixed now. They fixed the temperature not rising during the day. They fixed daytime transitions, audio stinger not respecting audio sliders. Oh, a video I watched earlier, someone complained about that. Fixed the overly red morning sunset events. Hallelujah, my retinas are mine again. Fixed Dreadmare's dark altar not working. I never got the chance to try and tame one, so I didn't know about that. Fixed Pyramane being killed to the jungle dungeon's lava. Interesting. I didn't think Pyramanes were meant to be immune to lava at all. I never knew they would. I've done a good job of avoiding it because of that fact. And as well, wouldn't the player just get killed mounted on the back? I don't understand the point of having them lava proof. I digress. Fixed rafts getting stuck, traversing parts of the ocean. Never ran into that, and I did use a bit of rafts, so. Reduced weather event frequency, thank Jesus, because holy crap, where I live on that pretty big island to the left of the swamp, it is never not raining, and it is loud as balls. So, fixed no snowfall during rain event when within the snow biome, makes sense. Fixed missing a rain VFX during electrical storms. Extended the no build radius outside of the labyrinth to prevent players blocking it. That's good. That's always wonderful to see. I'm a big stickler for certain areas just shouldn't be allowed to be built anywhere near or on. I know there's a lot of places that I think like ruins anywhere there might be explorer notes, things like that. They should not be able to be built anywhere near it, or not anywhere near it, but not as near it. Added missing crystal nodes. Christ, more. You people are going to have to update their resource maps. Fixed some palm fronds that were not pick-upable. I don't know what a palm frond is. I imagine it's the fallen, detached bits of palm tree on the floor that you can pick up for some early game wood and thatch. Fixed incorrect sapling scale in redwoods. I believe I saw one person complain that they weren't producing anywhere close to what they should be. It's just, that's wonderful to see that it was caught. And fixed missing textures in the labyrinth. Fixed cases where underwater clutter would appear on land. Never ran into that. Fixed the entire map appearing covered in snow after dying in the boss arena. I haven't got that quite far yet, so. Fixed water appearing darker or brighter depending on the camera angle. Fixed several trees that were missing collision and could not be harvested. I did run into that. Fixed several rocks missing collision. I didn't run into rocks. Fixed several supply crates spawning in the mesh. Wonderful stuff. Also, this is something that still needs to be addressed on Scorched Earth. That is still a thing. That is very recently, I've gone to collect a red drop with rings and it went into the mesh because I didn't get there fast enough. Usually if you're there and the mesh is fully loaded, it will stop and land properly, but I don't understand how that's still in it. Fix an issue that caused players to get teleported out of Salt Vale's lighthouse. Believes probably just an anti-meshing wall maybe poking through. Fixed light showing through landscape at Hibber's summit. Not a clue where that is or what that is. Various visual tweaks, whatever that means. Fixed various mesh holes. Wonderful. General bug fixes. Fixed a case where changing settings in the game would cause actors to appear invisible. That's wonderful. I have run into that. Fixed issues that cause structures to render on clients slower since 5.5. Personally, I've found that they render faster and from further away. But this is always wonderful. Fixed some kill milestones cases where progression not counting with some creature variants. Wonderful. Fixed cat dossier not unlocking. I have run into that. I very recently tamed one and I got nothing. Fixed Drakeling's Dragon Horde key incorrectly requiring Bob's Tool Tails to use. Didn't know that was a thing. Fixed skills placed on the hotbar preventing server transfer. Skills placed on the... Oh, right. Skills from the skill tree. My bad. Fix an issue that could cause you incorrect new milestones to appear when partially completing multiple branches. Fixed tracker skill highlighting low yield oil rocks in the ocean. Oh, right. Yes. The small coral looking ones. I'll throw up an image of what I mean. If you didn't know, you can get some very early game small bits of oil from these. Something I recently discovered about a month ago or two. Fixed Valwyn unable to be deployable on aberration. Fixed Valwyns getting stuck when trying to harvest a corpse. Fixed display cases not displaying cryopoded creatures. Fixed bisons damaging thatch when mounted. Fixed bisons damaging thatch when mounted. That's interesting. Should they not be able to? Because I feel like they should. If a trike can damage thatch, I feel like bison should be able to. Or maybe they can. Something else we'll test. Fixed the dark tech cape appearing messed up after spinning your character around. Fixed missing tooltip information on the inventory sort button. Fixed various Armadillo animation issues. Fixed Armadillo's weight showing as 0 after a server restart. Fixed the lighthouse inside the underworld cave on the center. Sorry, not the lighthouse. They fixed the lighting inside the underworld cave on the center. Fixed large rocks in the lava biome rendering out too quickly on the center. Fixed an issue that caused the Shastasaurus to constantly turn around during taming. Fixed cat animations that caused its paws to stretch. Fixed various Drakeling animation issues. I haven't noticed any animation issues with any creatures, to be honest, except for after the 5.5, there was a few swimming animations that were just missing or wrong. General bug fixes continued, because there's even more. Fix the Drakeling's inability to damage mounted creatures. Fix visual issues when equipping a Drakeling. Fixed gift of the season VFX appearing messed up on Reapers. Added missing multi-use wheel icons for the decor box. Multi-use wheel icons. Added missing multi-use. I never knew it was missing. Fixed berry option on appearing on enemy Reapers. Although it did show you the option to bury them, it wouldn't work, I believe. I did try it once. Fixed mech attachments not breaking once reaching 0 durability. Fixed tech bunker foundation check being too large. Fair enough. Fixed inability to quick access the tech bunker's inventory from its terminal. Fixed inability to access baby creatures' inventory when babyfying them with a makeshift megalap. I've never played around with that. I probably should have, it's really handy. But fixed the scroll keybind not working for the minimap overlay. That has been broken for me too. Fixed the map tab being skipped when using the cycle tabs keybind with a gamepad. Okay, right. Fixed cases where low foundations would prevent template hammer builds on rafts. Not a clue. Fixed inability to continue building with the template hammer after dying. I didn't know that was a thing. That would explain 1 or 2 of my builds having to be cancelled and picked up. Fixed template hammers template descriptions getting cut off and an inability to scroll through structures required. Template hammer no longer creates a new entry if it's replacing one of the same name. Template hammer no longer creates a new... Oh, sorry, I've just read that. Fixed click to rotate not working on 3D Explorer Note previews. Fixed inability to delete the last death waypoint via the map. Fixed tech suit radiation buff not applying correctly if the tech helmet was the last piece equipped. Fixed Power Rangers Megazord mech skin displaying the original mech sword / pistol when equipped. Fixed Power Rangers Dragonzord skin not animating properly. Power Rangers Green and White Ranger costume have a floating dagger underneath the wielder's feet when equipped. Fixed the Power Rangers Pterozord skin having backward jet VFX when equipped. Fixed invalid error message displaying when left clicking without a target within the tech binoculars. And finally, fixed multiple exploits, whatever that means. Oh, that was about 40 minutes of reading. Mind you, a lot of that's going to get cut because I'm not very good at reading, and some of it's going to get redone. So by the time we're done, I would have spent an hour and you would have spent a lot less. So now let's have a look at the things in game. Hello everyone, my name is Sippy and welcome to the video. So, brilliant. So, Summer Bash is finally here. It dropped a bit later than we'd all have liked or had hoped, but it's here nonetheless. Dropped at about 4 in the morning. It's now 7:30. I'm going to wait for a long time, so bear with me. Now, I've done a bit of setup. I believe I've got and covered everything. But we're going to go through what's new. We're going to go through some of the changes. We're going to check some of the patch note stuff out as well, as in the title. We're going to only focus on the main few things. Don't worry, we will look at the baby phoenixes and whatnot. I'm just going to do that bit after. So, first of all, what we'll check out is cosmetic stuff. Have a look at all of that, and then we'll look at some of the new additions, a lot of the new cosmetic stuff, and then we'll go from there. So, starting off strong with old reliable here. Our inflatable Rex costume can't go wrong with the inflatable Rex costume. Really, it's a classic, and quite frankly, it's one of my faves. Definitely up there. So, off the bat, big fan of the hat. Hat's really cool. Really nice detail on the 3D weights. Definitely a lot of love and care went into making these. These do look really nice. I am a big fan of these. These just like, it doesn't even have to be summer. Like, you don't have to be like role playing to enjoy this or anything. This it does just look good. The boots, you can't see so much. By the way, that is the new Otter chibi. I will cover that, don't worry. These are just some wellies, man. These are just like horse riding boots or something. But yeah, I'm a big fan overall of all of the pieces for the fishing set. Here's our little shell necklace. You see all the little like kind of stain details on the inside of the shells, which you would actually find. Moving on to the next set, we have the floral bracelets, anklets, and headband, which is looking pretty good. Doesn't quite clip around with the hair properly, but that can be forgiven. I've gone with the females Itchy Island, or Itchy Isles, which is interesting choice. I am wearing the bra as well, but it doesn't show on the male character, which is unfortunate. So I can't show you that right now, but I can show you the Itchy Isles swim shorts for male. Kind of actually just looks like underwear, I'm not gonna lie, just looks like underwear. The stitching, size, that's just underwear to me. Be thick. Yeah. Now I've gone with the Raptor swim shorts. Says Alpha on them, which is pretty cool. These are pretty cool. So now I've paired the Summer's Pineapple sunglasses with the Giga Poop pants, swim pants, which is interesting to say the least. Next, we've got the good old American Uncle Sam hat mixed with the Krabby shorts, which has got a bunch of Karkanos on it, and actually Eruptorids, which I didn't realise until now. I'm a big fan of this one. I like the colours. I like the crabs. They do look cool. Still lots of good detail on it. The old like raptor claw scratches on it. Nice and 3D. Nice shine to it in some light, which is pretty cool. But yeah, still looks as good as usual. So up next, we've got the Gas Bags shirt, which is one of the new ones. There are no bottoms for it, so I've paired it up with the eel bottoms. Although there's loads of jellyfish on it. I'll double check the name here in a sec. And the Aviator sunglasses, which look pretty cool. Actually, you could just kind of wear these whenever. Oh yeah, I get it now. It looks like it's a Gas Bags as a beach ball, which is quite clever actually. I'm a big fan of that. Okay. Oh no, they're jellyfish. I know there are eel ones, but I was wrong. They are the jellyfish ones. So next, we've got the retro sunglasses, which are just a slightly thicker frame, pretty similar, look just as good and are suitable for pretty much any cosmetic scenario. We've then paired that with the new Hover Sail top or shirt, which actually looks really good. It's a nice color. We've also paired it with the Gone Fishing shorts, which match almost perfectly. Almost perfectly, so close. And then we've also gone with the Dino Crocs. This is pretty fire. Let's get up right here. I can't lie, this might be what we're repping once we're done. Next, we've gone with the ladies sun hat, as well as the Sea Life shirt and the eel swim shorts, which again are pretty close. You wouldn't really notice. We've now gone with the Shadow Mane shirt, which is looking pretty cool. The T-Rex swim shorts, which has a bunch of trilobites on it, interestingly enough. And the tennis cap, sun cap, I don't recall if that's what it's called, but that is where you usually see them. The sun visor, sorry. We then have the fireworks hat, which is new, looking pretty interesting, pretty crazy. The ice pop print shirt, which looks pretty good, to be honest. And the floral swim shorts, which is covered in rare flowers, which is a nice little detail. I need to figure out how the camera panning works. I'm not very good at this, but we'll get there. Next, we've got the pirate's hat, which I believe in ASE you were awarded for killing the alpha lead sickness. We've then got the bulb dog shirt, which is looking very good. That's one of the new ones. And the inflatable rubber ring dino swim shorts. That's not what they're called. I've forgotten, but I'm just being descriptive. Floaty swim shorts. I was more descriptive, so there you go. Last but not least, we have the Noglin ice cream shirt, which is looking very cool. Very orange as well. And it has oranges on it. Very nice. Okay, now that the individual clothing cosmetics are out of the way, we will move on to the individual item cosmetics, which are looking pretty good. So these have the same physics as they did before. These aren't anything new. But we will look at each one individually again, because if you haven't seen it before, if you're new to if you're new to this event, if you've never been around when this event is on because you get to go on holidays during the summer, who knows? But there's no harm in covering it all. Maybe the best one is the sword, balloon sword. We then have the water gun, which is not a water gun. It very much is the opposite of that. So the weapon model looks very good. My character is currently very hot. Little flame symbol on the side of it. Nice little detail. It does look very good. It's very well made. The tape on the Bic lighter at the end of the nozzle is a very nice touch. Yeah. So we can kill two birds with one stone here. We've got the angler rod, which just kind of looks like a nice bamboo modern fishing rod. Really. It just looks like a nice proper version compared to the usual. And as well, I can show you off the new chair. New fishing chair. Or camping chair if you like. Which is a nice new addition. That's come with this iteration of Summer Bash. We've got the cooking pot, or the grill from last time. We've got the new tackle chest, which is a nice new addition. It's got some crab and piranha stickers and jellyfish stickers and eel stickers and whatnot. Extra else all over it. It's a nice touch, nice addition. And then we've got the cooler box, which is nothing new. That's from last year as well. Got a nice R% logo on it there. We've got two of those on the go, you know, because you can never have too many cold bevies. So these skins for the chair are slapped over the top of just normal chairs. The skins for the cooling box, the tackle box, are both just slapped over the top of a normal small storage box. And then the grill is slapped over the top of a campfire. Everything you've seen so far and everything you will see can be made here in the holiday part of the smithy. You've got two new emotes as well, which I've already unlocked apparently. You've got Summer Swell Taffy, which I have put one already on the quets that I've got nearby, which I will be showing off the new speed buff, which I'm quite excited about. So next we'll have a look at the new Super Soaker turrets, which are very, very cool. We'll also get some footage of them firing in a moment, see what they look like, see if they have any splash effects maybe on the bullets or whatnot. I like the touch of the plastic seams. That's a really nice, neat touch. I like it. It's kind of exaggerated, but this is actually kind of what it would look like, which is a very nice touch. I'm a big fan of that because that's rather realistic. That actually lights up. Didn't notice that. So this is the simple turret, and this is the heavy turret. You get two skins. And now let's see what they look like when firing. Maybe not. it doesn't seem that there's any sort of flash effect or anything. Damn, that's loud. So, moving on again to individual product cosmetics, we have the boomerang cosmetic with a frisbee on it, which is wonderful. So, we can give that a closer look in photo mode. I'm a big fan of the scratches and weathering and whatnot that's on there. As a pristine frisbee, there's no such thing. As soon as that thing leaves the store, it looks like this. So let's see how it looks in flight. It does spin properly. And it seems to be coming back nicely as well. I'm impressed, to be honest. I thought maybe they'd do some texture magic here so that there's not much going on. I don't know if it would even cost much, like performance wise, to have this occur. We also have the water pistol skin just for your pistol. I don't have any ammo for it at the moment, although I am a GTM, so I can make some. So even the magazine looks a bit different. It's a nice yellow colour. Doesn't seem anything's changed on the muzzle. There's no splash effect or anything like that. There's no different sounds. But it does look good. It does look like a water gun. It's got the right size and shape for it. The change of the pistol trigger shape is nice. The little water cap on the bottom of the magazine's a nice touch to help you indicate that it is a water gun. And we have a skin for the sword, another sword skin, which are tongs, or rather a really big steak knife. At first I thought it was tongs. It's not. It's actually a really big steak knife. Let's see what it's called. Steak knife. There we have it. This is for cutting through your steak burgers at your barbecues, I guess. And then we have the club skin, which is a spatula, which is like, so when you're here over your grill, you can look the part with your spatula. Forgot to do the wall mounts. But are they wall mounts? No, they're not. So, I thought you had to mount these on a wall mount. You don't. They are not cosmetics like I thought they were. These are actually items you can craft. You've got the salmon, which looks very good. You've got the piranha, which is absolutely huge. Absolutely ginormous. And then you have the coal, which has teeth. I suppose maybe they did have teeth. Actually, they're still alive, and I'm pretty sure they don't have teeth. If you didn't know, this species of fish was thought to be extinct until recently. We found one. And then you have the megalodon jaws, which is very cool, and probably size accurate as well, actually. In comparison to the average player size, I'd say that is probably pretty accurate. Maybe it needs to be a bit bigger. Yeah. On to the next bit. Maybe, quite possibly, the biggest and best part of this update. I've given my RG a nice summer swell taffy. Right. I'm going to press a button now, and I'm going to press one button, and my RG is going to continue on its path that I've left it on until I decide otherwise. Now, I'm not touching my mouse or keyboard at all right now, because with the patch came auto sprint. Before, we had an auto sprint mechanic, where if you pressed on the mouse and keyboard the right hand shift, the larger of the two, you didn't have to hold the left shift, but you did have to hold W, and you did still have to steal your mouse. Now, technically, you do still have to steal with your mouse, but I don't have... Yeah, but... So, unfortunately, this video is dragging on. Most of it is the patch notes. this is down to me and my poor timekeeping, but I didn't want it to go on for too long. I felt if it was over an hour, which it probably would have been if I'd have just carried on, no one would watch it. And so I thought I'd stop here and I can summarize the rest of it pretty strongly. Haven't even gotten to the bit where I show you how to get the popsicles to craft all of the things I've shown you, which is an oversight on my part. I wanted to add it in. I was going to do it on my server where they would actually spawn and then add it in, but that's not gonna work if the video is going to be this long. I should have done it separately probably, but I digress. I'm going to summarize the rest of the changes in the patch notes. The important ones anyway. I'll probably miss a bunch. Again, the patch notes themselves are all at the beginning of the video, so if you do want to know exactly what's changed, you can watch all of that. I understand it's a bit of a jar. You don't have to listen to me explain it. I don't explain it in great detail either. You can just read it yourself if you want, or check out the Discord, the Arc Discord, or the website and check the patch notes there. But essentially what I then go on to explain is how the Anki and the Dode and the Dunkleosteus have had changes in their harvest ability. So you can now hold E on them, and there is a extra option on the select wheel that says select resources, and you can specify which resource only you want them to harvest at a time. So you can tell the Anki to only harvest metal so that you don't have to keep stopping and dropping the stone, and it won't collect flint, it won't collect anything else. Even if it hits the node by accident, it won't collect it. The Anki has stone, metal and flint. The Dode has just stone and sand. The Dunkleosteus, as I'm on Scorched, I haven't had a look, so, but I believe he'll have oil as an option as well. That's a guess. If I'm totally honest, he may even have crystal too, but again, that's another guess. But I know for a fact he'll have metal and stone, because those are his primary gathering resources. I do go on to show you this in the clip, and I do give examples. It does work, it's working fine, as well as the movement speed buff to the Quetzals. Quetzals had a 15, sorry, I know sometimes 50 and 15 get mixed up, they sound similar. 15% movement increase, and when paired with the taffies for the Summer Bash event, you can get up to 30% increased speed from this patch. Technically you're only getting 15, this is now the new speed anyway, but it feels like a 30% increase. It feels very fast now, and you actually do have a reason to do it again. I hope proper TLCs come back soon, sooner rather than later. I imagine we're not going to see them till way after Lost Colony and Genesis and whatnot, but I do look forward to when they do happen again, because it's wonderful that the Quetzals had a change to its behavior and abilities. It's still ugly as shit, because it was when it was made. It's one of the oldest creatures, one of the first creatures in the game, so hopefully there's some love coming its way. I then went on to display the phoenixes, the baby phoenixes. They're now breedable. If you have pre-tamed phoenixes before this patch, all of them will revert to male, as before they wouldn't have had a gender. That's what they said in the patch notes. It'll automatically revert to male, so you will have to tame a female regardless after this patch anyway. And the eggs are fine. The eggs look like stego eggs, but they're just a bit on fire. Everything seems to work fine. The babies look cool. They're kind of cute. I believe mutations are working from what I've heard and seen, and yeah, we've got imprintable phoenixes now, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I believe that's the main things covered. My name's Sippy. Please like and subscribe, and goodbye.